She bought the house for $85,000. She budgeted $30,000 for renovations. She was gonna sell it for $140,000 and walk away with a $25,000 profit. Clean, easy, and simple. 6 months later, she sells it at $118,000 and lost $19,000 plus carrying costs. The painful part is she only lost one number, that's all it took, and it cost her everything. In this video, I'm gonna walk through the 5 numbers that every flipper must know before they sign on that dotted line. Because knowing these before you buy, that's the difference between a home run and a financial disaster. Let's get into it. My name is Gabe Ireland. I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and real estate investor. In today's toy next to us, we have a really cool RC car. For those of you that don't know, my son really wants one of his toys in each one of my videos. Last video, it was a forklift. The forks actually go up and down. It's super cool. This thing is actually insane. I know you didn't come to watch a video of an RC. It's $200. It's super tiny. It actually has shocks. And man, it can crawl up like crazy rock walls and all those cool things. It's super cool. So that is the toy of the day. Let's get started. In 2025, the average gross profit of a flip was roughly $66,000. But that's gross. After rehab, holding, and selling costs, many flippers take home far less. The ROI on flips dropped to 25.5% in 2025, the lowest since the Great Recession in 2008. The profit. And this is my last reality check. 70% of flippers don't make money. 70%. That's not 30, that's not 20, not 15. 70% of flippers don't make money. It reminds me of the day trading statistic. I believe it's 96% of day traders within a 6-month period will end up losing money. Yes, the first month, the first day, the first week, you might make, honestly, a big hit. I know I did. I have a pretty gnarly story on how much I lost and how it all went down. But no, 70% of flippers do not make money. And if you don't watch this video all the way through and learn these numbers and master them, you will become that statistic. So by the end of this video, you're gonna understand what separates the 30% from the 70%. I want you to comment down below right now before you watch the rest of this what you think the most important number is on a flip. So around 2009 all the way to 2020, flippers were seeing somewhere in the range of a 60% return on investment. That is insane, especially in a short amount of time to make that. That's goo-goo dollars we're talking. But that was 2020. From 20 to 2026, the market has changed fundamentally. Higher purchase prices, elevated material costs, lingering supply chain issues, and tariff-related increases are squeezing margins. What was once a market that consistently delivered 40 to 60% returns for more than a decade has now settled into 5 straight quarters of returns in the 20% range. That's a direct quote from ATTOM, the gold standard of real estate data. Now, I have to touch on this, although I know you've all heard it. Why do they fail? They buy with emotion and not facts. Number 1, they rely on the TV shows that do this magical thing called editing. And they edit out the carrying cost, the contractor no-shows, the permit delays, and the price reductions. They overestimate what the house will sell for. They underestimate what the repair costs will be. And altogether, let's just forget about holding costs because that's not a thing, right? The good news is the fundamentals have not changed. The math is still the same. Flippers who use data to operate are still finding great deals and making money. Before we get into the first number, which is right now, you don't need to be a genius. You need to know these 5 numbers. Let's start with the first one, the ARV. Most people know this one. This is the after repair value. This is what your home will be worth once it's finished. This is what I like to call the rock. It's the foundation. If you don't get this first one, all your other numbers really won't matter. So it is crucial that you get your ARV correct. Let's go over how to do that. You need recently sold properties, usually within 90 days, but no more than 6 months. A side note, recently sold. That's what I just said. So if you look on Zillow, which you can find comps, and you can search to see what your ARV would be on Zillow. However, recently sold. Go on Zillow, there's a tab, click recently sold. Do not look for listings that are active. That is what people want to get. That is not what they will get. I could list my house for $850,000 when really it's only worth $725,000. I'm not too far off, but the market is gonna work its way down. A buyer will show you what they are willing to pay. I always say, when people ask me how the market's doing, all I'll say is ask someone that's ready to buy. They'll tell you whatever they're willing to pay, that's how the market's doing. Normally you want to look in the same neighborhood, super crucial, normally half a mile to a mile away. Similar square footage is fine. Normally I'll be within 500 square feet depending on the size. I mean, if you're looking at like a 7,000 square foot house, anywhere from 6 to 9 could be perfect, or maybe even 6, 7. You also want to have a similar bed and bathroom count. A 3-bed, 2-bath would not compare to a 7-bed, 6-bath. And lastly, similar age, style, and renovations. Now, if you find something that is within that half mile, it's super close, maybe it's the same age, but it has another bedroom or it has one less bathroom, you can adjust for those differences. More bathrooms add value. Smaller lot, subtract value. Is it a busy road versus a nice quiet street? Is it a corner lot or is it tucked away in a nice cul-de-sac? The goal is to find 3 to 5 of the most similar properties to run your ARV. And lastly, be conservative. If you ask a real estate agent for comps, they normally will be on the high end. Not always, but I have found that to be true, so watch out for that. And a pro tip to ask realtors, ask for the low end to the middle ARV range. Your cushion in real estate is your protection. Overconfidence kills deals. Now, a lot of people want to know, well, how can I run this ARV? What can I use? Well, I just told you, Zillow actually works great. All those companies that pull from the MLS, which as I'm talking about it, your local MLS is perfect. Some of you might not have access to it. That's where a realtor will come in. But you'll have Zillow, Redfin, and all those other large companies. Homes.com, I could go on and on. And you'll also have the more investor-centric tool. There's some free options. There's also some paid options. There's PropStream, PropWire, DealCheck, Ascend. There's a lot of options out there. Remember, a Zestimate, which is a Zillow estimate, is not an ARV. When was the last time Zillow drove out to that house and gave it an appraisal? Now, I have one more thing. Most flippers that I watch will end at this and think that's all that you need, but you need a system. If you're going to be finding deals, getting leads, distressed home sellers, or maybe you even want to wholesale some of these properties because you're low on cash, but you're still finding these deals, you need a business system. Like iOS, OS, operating system, you need a business system. In the description, 30-day free trial for the system that I use. You cannot argue with me. It's literally free for 30 days, not 7, not 14 days. Those trials suck. A full month testing this thing out. If it brings you more deals, great. If not, quit. But I can promise you it will pay for itself because it's $97 a month after that trial. Link in the description. So as far as ARV goes, there's 4 common mistakes that I normally see. Number 1 is people are pulling their ARV and their comps from neighborhoods that are just outside of the area completely. That will kill you. I can't stress this enough that a nice neighborhood, one that's recently built or just has great potential, there's just an upper class of people living there, there's no drug activities, guns, etc., can be right next to what I just said. A bad neighborhood with drugs and guns and just, that type of stuff. I did already touch on this, but using active listings versus ones that have already sold. Do not do that. Assuming your renovation quality is going to hit the top of the range. Do not assume that. I've been there. Markets change, markets shift. Sometimes a flipper just finishes one and they did a lot better than you. So do not think that your renovations are going to be the best. Also, just because something's sold does not mean it's an ARV. Do your DD, look into it a little bit more. If it has sat on there for 200 days before it ended up selling, that might not be the best ARV. Do you think that the ARV should be optimistic or more conservative? Tell me below because I see a lot of people argue about this literally all the time. Number 2 is your rehab costs. This is from the current price that you bought it at, what it takes to get you to sell. If you bought it at $350, it sells at $400, your rehab costs are $50,000. This includes everything, not just the building materials, but photos when you're finished. Permits, demo, labor, materials, permits, demo, and also your staging and your photos. Sometimes the realtor will pay for that, sometimes they won't. A lot of people, including myself, like to get a pre-listing inspection, which is around $500. That is included in the cost as well. Now, I put this at number 2 because this is something that people mess up a lot. Most beginners fail at this because, well, they dramatically underestimate. They kind of do a walk through the house. They don't get concrete numbers. They say, oh, it's not that bad. Maybe it's going to be about 20K. And they just kind of guesstimate. That will kill a deal. Contractor comes in, finds mold, knob and tube wiring that needs to be replaced, or a failing foundation. Now, quick tip about knob and tube wiring, if you've heard a little bit about it, it's not a bad system. A lot of people are weary about it. Like, oh, it's got knob and tube, it's bad, get rid of it. Knob and tube is a great system, but it's been 100 years old and normally people tamper with it. If it has not been touched or tampered with, it's actually a great system. But usually people have spliced it, broken in and pulled a wire from it and gotten into another electrical box, or pulled power to put in a light over here, or maybe they got a garage and they want to splice it to put power to the garage. That's where it gets bad. Think about it. Missing your rehab by $15,000 to $20,000 or more can turn your $40,000 profit into breaking even or worse, losing money. Now, I'm going to put this up on the screen. So there's 3 different levels of a flip. There's light cosmetic, which is normally your paint, flooring, fixtures, cleanup, and a little bit of landscaping, which normally is about $15 to $25 a square foot. Then you'll have your moderate. This is where I deal in a lot. Cosmetic, kitchen, bathroom updates, some systems like roof and windows, roughly $25 to $50 a square foot. Now, I've done 2 full guts. This is down to the studs, new plumbing, new electrical, HVAC structural work. Right around $60 to $100 a square foot. I've seen homes selling sometimes around, $300 a square foot. Usually the lower square foot house, they'll sell for a little bit more per square foot. So to spend $100 a square foot, there's still margin for you to make money. So we've touched on what not to do when a rehab, what the beginners normally do and how they fail. Well, let's talk about what to actually do. I want you to walk through the house systematically. Don't just walk around and kind of look at the things that you can see on the outside. Go in the attic, crawl around in every corner. That 15 minutes, or maybe it takes you longer, to crawl around is going to save you potentially tens of thousands of dollars. Literally tens of thousands. I had a property. I said, you know what? This was an on-market deal. It wasn't a sketchy off-market deal. I trusted the realtor and I did not go up in the attic. I went through the crawl space and I'm glad I did because I caught a few things. We were able to lower the price there. However, I did not go into the attic. Literally ever. We flipped the house, got it listed on the market. We were gonna make about $130,000 profit. The inspection came through and there was a rat pest infestation in the attic. That had also affected the R value of the insulation. You gotta remember, insulation up top normally is not bad at insulation, meaning it's not the fiberglass with paper and it's taped and wired and roped to the joists or the rafters, sorry. It's normally the loose fall. So people come up there with the hose and they spray it and it's like snow going everywhere. Well, when rats are constantly crawling all over it, it compresses it. That loses the R value. Not to mention you have P, which creates yellow spots on the drywall. All in all, it was just nasty up there. We had to have a professional come in, completely get rid of all of that crap and put in brand new insulation. That cost us about $11,000. Side note, we got $3,000 back from a rebate. So always check out if you'll get that rebate. Create a scope of work, have an itemized list. If you check out that 30-day free trial, I have my spreadsheet that I use. It's fully interactive. You can click stuff, it automatically will add it and subtract it. It's got the repair costs. It's got all the different sections of work, the plumbers, the HVAC, flooring, insulation, drywall, framework. Literally has all of it. I just named maybe 15% of it. So check out the free trial. Now, this one's common. You'll hear this a lot. Get 3 contractor bids, not 1, not 2, 3. It's the special number. It's magic. It gives you options. That's the bottom line. It gives you options. The reason it's special is it allows you to look at what is best. Now, does not always mean go with the cheapest option. I have gotten ones that are scary cheap, and I have dug deeper into that business and found that they are not reputable at all. In fact, they are almost a little scammy. So always do your DD on the contractor himself. Also, the contractor could be absolutely wonderful, but if they are one person and they are super slow, that can add into your holding costs. For example, in this duplex that we are living in right now, it was completely down to the studs. We had a drywall crew come in. He was a very nice guy. I love him and he's doing future work for me. But at the time, he had just lost his only 2 employees. So he had to drywall this thing all himself. It took him 3 weeks, and luckily we paid cash for this. We didn't have a whole lot of closing costs, but imagine if we did. If you fall in love with a deal, I don't blame you. A lot of flippers say don't get emotional, well, and it's true, you don't want to get emotional. But my wife and I, given that we do it ourselves, we love to just drive around, look at houses, as do I think a lot of other people. So if that's you, don't feel bad for yourself. If there's a house that you absolutely love and you know it would yield a good return, go for it. I'm just gonna ask you to look at these, but I would challenge you to look at these couple things first. Roof. Always check out the roof, make sure that is prime time. Foundation, that can cost a lot if anything is going wrong with that. Electrical panel, it might need a full rewire, you never know. Plumbing, is it cast iron? Is the supply lines galvanized? Also, HVAC, does it need replaced? Is it doing okay? And then mold or asbestos remediation. Just because you fall in love with a deal doesn't mean you need to buy it. If these problems, if any of those things I listed are a huge issue and you need a full replacement, run your numbers, get your quotes. Those are normally the most expensive things that can tear apart a deal. Don't just give a contractor a lump sum number. Write out every single item. The classic mistake. You pay for a bathroom renovation, the contractor finishes, you walk in and there's no mirror, no toilet paper holder, no towel bar, not in the contract. It's not written down. It doesn't exist. If you are a flipper, drop in the comments what is the most single surprise that you have been shocked with. I'll tell you what mine is. It's a flip we are pending on right now and we have to do a full re-roof. I'm not even gonna get into that one. That's too fresh for me. Number 3 is the 70% rule. This is your MAO, your maximum allowable offer. It's the most you should pay for a property while still hoping to make a profit. For example, the ARV is $300,000. Rehab cost is $50,000. Now, your maximum allowable offer is $300,000 times 0.7. Now, this is the 70%. Minus $50,000. Let's pause right there. Why did I subtract $50,000? Because everybody forgets with the 70% rule, the last part, which is minus repairs. So at 70% minus repairs, always subtract your repairs. Otherwise you'll be buying it at like 80-85%, which can be kind of risky. Now back to it. That would equal $210,000. All in all, if you pay more than $160,000, the math says you're likely not going to profit. Why 70%? The 30% buffer isn't just profit, it absorbs buying, closing costs, normally 1 to 3%, holding costs, usually 1% of the purchase price a month, as a rule of thumb. Selling costs, agent commissions can be 5 to 6%, plus staging, plus closing. A profit margin, the whole reason you're doing this. Also, something that most people don't say is the market fluctuations. In 2008, the market dropped right around 15 to 20%. If you have 30% and the market does a crash or it drops, you still can make money. Now, is 70% a dead set rule you have to commit to? What about 65% or 75%? Normally, experienced flippers will implement the 65% rule in slower markets and the 75% rule if it's a really hot market. All in all, if you take anything away from the 70% rule, it is not a ceiling you try to push above, it's a ceiling you want to stay under. For beginners, I would actually say stay within the 65% rule. It just gives you room. You will thank me later. Number 4 is holding costs. This is every dollar that you spend on the day of close to the day you close on the sale, not including your renovation. What's included in holding costs? Mortgage interest. If you have a hard money loan, normally you're going to be paying about $1,000 to $2,500 a month. Interest only. Nothing goes towards the principal. Property taxes, normally $150 to $400 a month. Insurance is a big one, $100 to $200. Utilities, to keep on your lights, your water, your contractors are going to be using power tools. Usually you're looking at $150 to $400 a month. HOA fees. We actually just flipped a house that was in an HOA. We decided to pay the $1,400 up front. This was for the whole year. It only took us a month to flip this house, and when we got to sell it, we got to say the HOA dues were paid for the full year. Just a thought, it definitely helped us close. A lot of people are worried about those HOA dues. It was literally $1,400 for the full year, didn't hurt us at all. And it was just a feel good for the person who decided to put an offer in. Let's throw that chart back up. Lastly, we have lawn maintenance and security, $100 to $300 a month. Now, I don't know about you, but I know how to mow my own grass, so I ain't gonna be spending that. Now, this is crazy. Your total estimate, anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 a month. Imagine holding that property for 6 months. On the high end, that is literally $24,000. If that was your profit, 25 grand, well, now it's gone. Now, most flippers use hard money loans. And again, these rates typically are around 10 to 18%. On $150,000, at 12%, that's $1,500 a month just in interest. At 6 months, $9,000 in interest charges, and at 9 months, $13,500. Before you buy, look at the average days on market for comparable properties in that neighborhood. If your comp shows a home sitting at 120 plus days, factor that into your holding cost calculation. Build in that extra holding time. Don't plan for the best case scenario. I will say that every single one of our flips has gotten an offer within under 1 week, which is absolutely insane. We have always factored in it sitting on the market for 6 months. So yeah, we actually gained a little more than we were expecting to, but we were always safe. Selling costs, the often forgettable close. When you sell, you also pay real estate agent commission, 5 to 6%. Closing costs on the sales side, normally 1 to 2%. Staging, $1,500 to $2,500. Any closing concessions to the buyer, which I've seen a lot of people offering that recently, which can be a tactic. If you are scared to hold your property for 6 months, maybe throw in some seller concessions. But think about that when you write your offer. So on a $250,000 ARV, that is $25,000 in selling costs alone. Honestly, this is the number I see most beginners skip. Have you ever factored in holding costs to a deal before? Be honest, drop yes or no in the comments right now. If you haven't, just say it. Be honest and drop a comment. I'm curious, how many of you are doing this already? Now, number 5, the moment every one of you have been waiting for, and probably the most exciting one, your ROI and net profit. This is what actually goes into your pockets once everything is said and done. Your net profit is your sales price minus purchase price, rehab costs, holding costs, selling costs, and financing co. Your ROI is really asking you, how efficiently did your capital work for you? Your ROI is your net profit divided by total cash invested times 100. You can have a high net profit, but a terrible ROI. If you tied up 200 grand on your own cash for 12 months to make $30,000, your ROI is only 15%, and you could have beaten that in an index fund with zero work. You can also have a high ROI, but a low profit. If you use financing heavily, your cash investment is small, so your ROI looks great on paper, even though you didn't make much in absolute dollars. Understand both numbers before you decide if a deal is worth taking. What's a good ROI on a flip? In 2025, the average ROI was around 25.5%, but that's gross ROI, not net. Many pros aim for 15 to 20% ROI as a minimum threshold. Laugh all you want, I see it all the time. I would ask, is this more profitable than anything else I could do with the same amount of money? If your flip takes 9 months and you net $18,000 on $120,000 invested, again, that's 15% return. But annualized, it's only about 20%. Compare that to what your cash could earn elsewhere, plus the massive time investment, stress, contractor management, and risk. This is just an honest conversation most YouTube channels don't offer. If you don't learn from this video, learn from the comment section. This is my is it worth it checklist. Checklist before you buy. Do I know the ARV with confidence, not optimism? Have I gotten 3 contractor quotes on rehab costs? Have I applied the 70% rule, and am I within it? Have I calculated full holding costs for a realistic timeline? Not best case. Does my net profit clear my minimum threshold even if things go 10 to 15% worse than planned? If the answer is yes to all 5, baby, pull that trigger. If not, keep looking. What is your minimum profit threshold on a flip? In other words, what number makes you say yes? Drop it in the comments. I want to see what the community thinks. Now, how can I sit here in this duplex without showing you deals that I've done and real run-throughs? Let me walk you through my most recent flip, what we made, what we may have lost. Let's throw it up on the screen. So there you have it, the 5 numbers every flipper must know before they buy. The ARV, what will the property be worth after repairs? Rehab cost, every dollar it takes to get there. The 70% rule, your maximum allowable offer. Holding costs, the silent profit killer. Time is money on every single day you own that property. Net profit and ROI. Is this deal actually worth your time and capital? If you know these numbers before you make an offer, you're operating like a professional. If you skip them, you're gambling. Simple as that. Now go back to that comment you left at the beginning. Was one of these numbers one of yours? I'm curious. Now, if this video helped you at all, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel so much. And if you want to see me do a full deal breakdown, because I've done a lot, let me know in the comments and I will get that video to you guys. If this video gets 10,000 likes, I will record how I get my next deal. It will be a conversation with a distressed seller. 10,000 likes. See ya!